weekend all. Ira Epstein of Linn Associates with your weekend wrap-up of the financial markets for December 20th, 2019, and we're just about 3:18 in the afternoon, so this will be the settlement prices in the stock indices. Quadruple witching day, big volume day, and the market another record high. But we are into that Christmas period. Remember that on Tuesday it's a half day of trading for a lot of different markets. You're closed then for Christmas, and the next 2 days you'll slosh around. You'll have the market trades, that's not what I'm saying, but a lot of people's, their mind will be with their families and so on. I am going to be gone next week completely and out of the office. So if you're looking for these wrap-ups, they'll resume a week from Monday, so I'll be back in Chicago at that time. Now remember, in this weekend edition, we cover one monthly chart, and then what we do is we move right to the weekly charts. So you can see where the prices are. I think you got a bit expensive in crude oil and in Brent, and we'll see if the market wants to follow through to the downside at all. When we see the S&P, how can you argue with the rally? I'll tell you what bothers me. What bothers me is everywhere I'm going, people talking the stock market. It reminds me of the real estate bubble. And no, I don't see this market having anything fundamentally other than it's just been a phenomenal run-up, and it can get a correction at any point. No, I'm not looking for a 20% correction. You know, you can get a 5% correction overnight like that. You're at a high level, so that's the point you look at. When you come to the weekly chart, you see that very clear. The bias is up, and you're far away from support. Support's back at 3041, so it's approximately 150 S&P points away. That's pretty good in the market. When you take a look at the weekly bar, how can you argue that this market isn't as strong as can be? It's an all-time high. You can see the pattern has been one of higher lows, higher highs. You haven't broken that pattern, if you think about it, since June. Yeah, it's hard to believe. All consistently higher lows. I have no reason to be bearish. The market is staying over the 18-week moving average of closes. So when we look at this since October, it got over it, and you haven't had any correction where you've come back to challenge that number. You certainly did that throughout the summertime. You were playing at that zone, and then it wound itself up and has moved, as we say, out. Are we in the middle of the Santa Claus rally? You betcha. The deers are all going strong, and Santa and his wife are waving. And you can see how the market's challenging the Bollinger Band. It backs away and re-challenges it, and momentum is just locked in and staying one way, and that is bullish momentum at this point. So still very much a bull market. You have to get a bit nervous if you took out 3069. That could lead to wherever that 18-week average is, and that 18-week average is jumping right now about 12 to 18 points a week. So it's going to be very close to this number when we reopen on Sunday night. In the NASDAQ, up to the upper Bollinger Band. This is resistance. Markets will trade within these black bands 95% of the time. You can make up any story you want, go back and count, and you will find that's what the algorithm does. So when you get to that band, I'm always looking for it to offer a first hit of it some resistance. But when you lock in this bullish momentum, and you don't back off from it, it's just telling you, yeah, you back off, but you don't stay down very long. So momentum is what I'd keep my eye on. Same thing in the Dow. The resistance point now, the upper Bollinger Band. The trap for the bears happened on this week, and that was the week of December 6th. It sounds so far away. That's called an outside week down. If you take out the high of an outside week, often, the word is not always, the market makes another run at the upper Bollinger Band because you've caught a group, and that's what I think the market had done there. In the Russell, this market finally came alive, so the small caps finally are catching up with the rest of the market, but it too has hit the upper Bollinger Band, and it backs away and stays within it. What's nice here is you might get a bullish crossover. Do you see 1566? That's the 18-week average. The 100 weeks, 1569.5. Get over that, and the market looks bullish to me. That's another element that the bulls will look at. They'll say, oh, look at the moving average crossovers. In the VIX, still drifting to the downside. Now, this shows you how complacent and how lack of protection people want in the marketplace. The lower it drifts, and we've seen that before, it begets eventually a sharp correction that comes out of nowhere. I do not know the day it's going to happen or what's going to happen. I know it will happen. That much I know. In the notes, as you can see, interest rates have been climbing. We've got the market that has fought the battle at this 18-week average for 2 months and broke out to the downside. Now it's testing that lower Bollinger Band. Momentum is still down, trend down. You'd have to take out 130.02 to break the downtrend. In TLT, lower highs, lower low. I don't know where this low will end up when it eventually bottoms, but nowhere to know. Downside target right now, 133.67. To negate the downtrend, you have to get over 141.77, and that could turn the market friendly. In the dollar index, if we come back, you see last week was the first challenge in quite a while. You'd have to go back to June of the lower Bollinger Band. Often, the first challenge of the band on the downside or the upside results in the market coming back and spinning around. Well, this week you got under it and came back, spun, and you finished the week higher and over that band. What is the trend? There isn't one. You're basically in a sideways market that failed on a breakout to the downside so far. On the eurocurrency, what do you think happened on the upside? You went to the upper Bollinger Band. You hadn't done it back here. You were testing it last week. You missed it by about 8 points or so. This week you tested it and you slipped back under it. But this market is trying to figure out what to do. It's also, like the dollar, spinning in a sideways action. In the Mexican peso, Mexico keeps cutting its interest rates. They're trying to keep the economy going, get inflation going, and it's almost like quantitative easing. You throw money at the market, you're hoping your currency does better, and that's basically what's been happening here. The 100-week average right here at 51.68. I read that wrong. 51.68 down to 51.32, the 18-week average in red. That's the support level. Momentum sort of faltering right here, but has not turned down. Canadian dollar. Even though we keep hearing, oh, there's problems in Canada, things slowing down, this market's gone back to its 100-week average of closes, the green number. The last time it was here was in the October time frame. It's not trending, and that doesn't surprise me in a lot of the currencies. You know, right now the FX traders, they're waiting. They want to see monetary policies. They want to get into the new year, and you're just sort of moving around like that. The Japanese yen, lower highs, lower lows. Instead of the Bollinger Band in the past month and a half being tested, the market's been playing with the 100-week average. Now your momentum is still locked in down, the bias down, until the market takes out the 192.54.5 level. The bears still control it. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a pretty good history that when it challenges these Bollinger Bands, you get a bit of a reversal. Now, to the upside, it's a different story. The upside seems to spring to life, whereas that just becomes the support. Something interesting. Don't know what it means completely, but you've got the lower highs, lower lows for the week down another $45. And this is a market that has halved itself since July, over 13,000. Back down into the 64.20 level. Pretty cheap. Excuse me. And the Brent. My brain's still there. Brent versus WTI crude. I think you've been hearing me say on the daily wrap-ups that I think the IEA did a great job of saying that they thought the spread was going to stay in that $4 to $5 range, and it's really done a pretty good job of that, just sort of hanging right there. We got up to the upper Bollinger Band, closed 80 points up on the week. The trend is still up. On the daily charts, the action looks a little bit different than this, but longer term, still bullish. Support back at the 62.05 level, and yes, I think you're in a serious resistance zone of 66 to the 6,800 area. In WTI crude, momentum up, trend up. You're into very serious resistance of the 100-week average and the upper Bollinger Band. I'd be very surprised if the pros aren't cutting back their positions on the long side. Gasoline just spinning sideways. Now, this is a big driving week coming up. You know, probably set a record for people on the road. We'll see if that is reflected in price. But right now, you've gone from the lower Bollinger Band to the upper Bollinger Band without a trend on the weekly chart. Heating oil. Haven't had that really cold weather of December yet. I know in Chicago, I remember last year we were shoveling and all. We're going to be in the 50s this coming week. Higher lows, higher highs, but again, right into that upper Bollinger Band. I'm going to say again, I think the pros are taking some money off the table there. So you put it all together, I leave you with this thought. If you haven't tried my morning subscriber video, you might want to. And yes, while I'm going to be gone, I often put these out. I won't put them out at the 5 in the morning to 6 in the morning time frame. I will sleep a bit, but I will get these out for my subscribers. You can try it at the cost of $7.95. That's $7.95 for the first 30 days. You're locked into nothing. You don't like it, you stop it. You're going to see me cover window envelopes, swing lines, Bollinger Bands. The idea here is to give you trade ideas in the morning. I will bring you up instantly with what's going on in Asia, what's going on in Europe, what is on schedule for U.S. financial markets or ag markets. Bring you all into all that first thing in the morning. Pretty interesting way to start the day. You can go to our website to find out more, www.iraepstein.com under the word research. And with that, you have a great holiday. I will see you a week from Monday. Thanks for watching.